Christmas is a time of giving, with the much-anticipated season decked with pretty lights, festive decors, fun parties, and tons of beribboned gifts. But what if we veer away from store-bought materialism and branch out to actually make a difference in someone else's life in a more meaningful way? Drive Seuss once wrote, "Then the Grinch thought of something that he hadn't before. What if Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store? What if Christmas, perhaps means a little bit more? When I think about it, the Christmas story is the ultimate gift of love. God the Father sacrificed His only begotten Son for the sake of humanity." Sign from heaven. As I was pondering about Christmas lists and wishes, along with meandering on how to make the season more memorable beyond the material for my kids, Anne Valessa's story flashed through my FB newsfeed. It was shared by Weena, my youngest son's godmother. I may not know Anne personally, but her story brought me to tears. She suffers from rheumatic heart disease, RHD, the same illness my daughter, Lourdes, was diagnosed at 10 years old. Most RHD cases are acquired, meaning it is highly preventable. RHD actually stems from a simple case of strep throat, aka tonsillitis, that develops into rheumatic fever because it has not been treated or was undertreated. From the throat, the bacteria manage to make their way down to the heart, where they wreak havoc in the valves. Anne said, "I first noticed the problem when we were preparing for our requirement for internship, 1997. The X-ray of the work I applied showed that my heart was slightly enlarged. I got an ECG, a test that measures heart function, and it came back normal, so I moved on. But much later, when I got pregnant with my daughter, 2004, I felt something was off. I finally had a 2D echo which showed I had moderate damage in the mitral valve and mild damage in the aortic valve. The doctor helped trace my history, and we concluded that rheumatic fever happened when I had this debilitating fever in college, 1991. The damage manifested after 19 years. Anne's story corroborates what the pediatrician of my daughter told me. It may take months or even years after an episode of rheumatic fever for valve damage to develop or symptoms to appear. Antibiotics prevent strep infections from developing into this rheumatic fever. Any child with frequent and persistent bouts of sore throat should be checked. Untreated, it can lead to a disruption in quality of life due to limited heart function, which affects mobility. Worst case scenario is death. Plea for help. Anne was candid enough to say that she needs help. "I am due for an open heart surgery but cannot proceed due to financial constraints. The procedure is mitral valve replacement. As for my aortic valve, they will decide after they cut me open if they will repair it or replace it. My husband and I don't have the liquidity to cover the cost. I worked up so hard to keep myself fit and well, so I was able to delay the procedure for 10 more years after giving birth. But now, it has caught up with me.